Welcome to the Talkin Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Wanted to get on here, talk a little bit about NIL. It's all over the news. Reports of legislation coming down from SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. We're going to talk about it. We have seen the success that Tennessee has had through NIL. Obviously, it starts with Nico Iamaleava, the rumors of an $8 million contract coming to play for Tennessee. Also, guys like Carnell Tate, five-star wide receiver out of IMG Academy, right now on 3.com, has Carnell Tate at 60.5% odds of landing at Tennessee. We're also hearing a lot of rumors, a lot of whispers out there about five-star offensive tackle Francis Mauigoa. Now, On3 only has him at a 22.7% chance of landing at Tennessee, but the Vols are very much in the mix. Nico has been going to work on Francis Mauigoa, and I think when it's all said and done, we may be pretty happy with where that one ends up. But again, kudos to this administration. I put out a video a couple of days ago talking about Spire Sports Group being the #1 most ambitious NIL collective. So what's the problem? Well, guys like Kirby Smart are out there, Nick Saban out there raising a fuss. They are mad, they're upset, but why? We're going to take a look at an article coming up here in just a second. We're going to break it down and get into it, but as always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's free, it's quick, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the Talkin Vols Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. You guys know the catchphrase by now. For the fans, by the fans. The boys over at Volunteer Utility Services are fans just like you and I. They handle all commercial and residential excavation needs, utilities, septic tanks, irrigation installs, dog fences, and more. They also do landscaping, masonry, concrete work, and junk removal. Give them a call, 865-320-6194. That's 865-320-6194. Check them out on social media. I'll drop the links to that in the description below. For the fans, by the fans. Show some love for not only an East Tennessee local business, but also a member of the Talkin Vols family. Volunteer Utility Services. So let's go ahead and jump into the article here from frontofficesports.com. Seen this floating around quite a few places, but let's break it down. It says here, task force reportedly aims to crack down on NIL collectives. You go down here, the article says it's been less than a year since college athletes were approved to make money off their name, image, and likeness, but some NIL deals are already giving the NCAA a reason to crack down, and that is school boosters. Now, why the NCAA is suddenly concerned? They're all of a sudden upset. They're all of a sudden they got to get some rules in place. Don't you think, NCAA, don't you think you should have probably been prepared before you rolled this whole NIL deal out? You were behind. You threw it out there. It became the Wild West. Now you're upset. Let's go on and read more. It says here, some alumni head NIL collectives, third-party entities that develop financial opportunities for college athletes and aren't supposed to have any relationship with the schools or the recruiting process. Now, the interesting thing there, again, you're going to start talking about cracking down with legislation, laws, and whatever you're going to change. Tennessee just recently passed a law making it 100% legal for the NIL collective to actually communicate with the school. So let's go on and read more here. It says, but a number of those alumni wear their school colors with perhaps a little too much pride for the NIL landscape. It says billionaire John Ruiz has deals with more than 100 Miami Hurricane athletes, including a 2-year, $800,000 deal with Kansas State transfer Nigel Pack. It says here the Clark Field Collective is paying the Texas offensive line $50,000 each. As of January, it hadn't been ruled an NCAA violation. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do there? As of January, it's not an NCAA violation. Are we all of a sudden going to make it where it is? What's fair? What's not? You made it legal to pay college athletes. I don't think it's your business anymore. I don't think you can get involved in a contract between an offensive lineman and an NIL collective. You made it legal. That's not your business. Goes on and says some outlets report there could be more than 100 collectives total. Because of the suspected relations between collectives and schools, some college coaches have called for more NIL regulation, including Alabama's Nick Saban and Georgia's Kirby Smart. Now, this is comical to me. This is absolutely hilarious to me because you're seeing all over the news that apparently Nick Saban is not happy with NIL. And one of the quotes was, "You're paying a guy to come play quarterback that's never taken a single snap." But let's rewind just a little bit. Let's go back to July of 2021 and let's talk about Alabama's quarterback when this headline that's on the screen now popped out. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young already has nearly 1 million in likeness deals. Now, Nick Saban was meeting with a group of fans, boosters, and he was talking about, he almost laughed. He thought it was funny. Yeah, we've got a kid that's making over $1 million. He was bragging. Why was he bragging? Because he thought he was ahead of the game. He thought he was ahead of the curve. Nick Saban thought, hey, I'm going to put it out there that our quarterback's making $1 million and more kids are going to want to come to Tennessee. But Spire Sports Group said, hold my beer. Here's $8 million. Come play quarterback at the University of Tennessee. Suddenly, Nick Saban and Alabama aren't out front. They're behind. Now Nick Saban has a problem. The same goes for Georgia and Kirby Smart. Why don't they like this? Why don't they like it? Well, I can go ahead and pull up an article that says Georgia launched the Classic City Collective, their NIL collective. That article came out January 10th of 2022. You go find the article for Alabama, High Tide Traditions. They launched their NIL collective. When did that article come out? April of 2022. You go back and you see where Tennessee was at. When did Tennessee launch Spire Sports Group? When did Spire Sports Group, the #1 NIL collective in the country, launch? July 1st, 2021. The day it became legal to pay college athletes, Tennessee was ready to go. Spire Sports Group was in place and moving forward. Tennessee was ahead of the curve, and now that's a problem. That's why you're seeing Nick Saban get involved. That's why you're seeing Kirby Smart get involved. That's why you're seeing the sleazeball Sankey go to Washington, D.C. and try to figure, how do we get this all under control? Because Alabama has been paying college football players for years. Everybody knows it. It happens all across the country, under the table. College athletes have been getting paid. But guess what? Now it's legal. Now it's legal. So it's the Wild West, and it's all out in your face, and you're seeing reality. And the reality is Tennessee has the most passionate, energetic fan base in the country, and our pockets are deep, and you can't take it. So now you go running to SEC commissioner. We got to change things. We got to get regulations in place. We got to keep our pride and joy. We got to keep Alabama and Georgia up front. The article goes on to say here, change is coming. Saban and Smart could get the requested regulation in the next week. University administrators, part of the task force reviewing NIL, are reportedly putting together additional rules to clarify that boosters and booster-led collectives are prohibited from involving themselves in recruiting. The NCAA considers boosters as a representative arm of athletic departments, and schools that don't control donor spending could be sanctioned for violating NCAA rules. How exactly are you going to monitor and control that? What is considered a booster versus what is considered a fan? Isn't it all considered boosting? Aren't we all, donating to the collective in order to recruit? Get out of here. Get out of here. And people talking about sitting down with Nico and having conversations about retroactive, that ain't happening. There's no way you can go back and penalize Nico or penalize these players for what was perfectly legal at the time. But it talks about prohibiting from involving themselves in recruiting. So what does that mean moving forward? We will see what type of rules the NCAA or the SEC puts in place. But no matter what, bar none, Spire Sports Group is the #1 NIL collective in the country. So they can put rules in place. They can prohibit boosters. They can word it however they want to word it. So dummies like me and you in East Tennessee can't understand what the contract even means. But the bottom line is, when we had James Clausen on from Spire Sports Group, he talked about the goal for Spire Sports Group. And he talked about how, we brought that up, how you weren't supposed to be able to tamper and lure and use it in recruiting. How do you use NIL in that type of world? And he said, you establish it with your current roster. If somebody sees that Hendon Hooker is making big time NIL money, they're going to want to come to Tennessee. Now it's floating out there that if you want to come be the quarterback at Tennessee, there could possibly be an $8 million contract waiting for you there. Now, when you look at the contracts, how is that worded? If you can't say you have to come to Tennessee, well, it's pretty simple. You just put a public appearance on Friday in Knoxville. If Nico's playing for Oregon, I don't think he can be in Knoxville on Friday afternoon. So there are ways around it. There's ways to word it. There's going to be attorneys involved on all sides, but it's comical. It's comical to me that somebody like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart suddenly has a problem with paying players. You guys hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. If you have not done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' Vols Network. What better time to pick up the brand new Beat Bama or Beat Georgia merchandise than right now? Let's beat them on the field. Let's beat them in the NIL game. Pick up your new merchandise. Again, it is bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Vols. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.